What's up, guys? I think this is all working. Nice. Looks like it's working. All right, let's crunch some numbers here. I'm gonna close this so that we can see. Shoot, dude, so many people are looking for mages for heroics because you kind of need the CC. I'm trying to simultaneously get into a group while also trying to do this here. Okay, let's go ahead and throw in our... I'm trying to think what I need to change for this. We're gonna just do max rank everything for this, and we'll probably do a Moonkin masterclass video after this. Turn this down just a little bit. We'll see if we can get in groups here. You basically need to wait. There's a lot of people trying to get in groups, so I have to like kind of wait and try and snipe a group that pops up here in the looking for group. So we should be able to hopefully get into one of those pretty easily. So what do we have? Max rank now is 8. 337 mana. Rank 8. 337. $605 to $711. $605 to $711. Okay, the coefficient on this is actually going to change though now to 120. Right, let's see if that... We're at 820, so we should be at like just under 1,000 bonus damage. So this should be hitting for like 1,600, 1,700, something like that. Oh, I have this flask on too. Okay, so we're definitely hitting at least that. Oh, it's because there's curse. Yeah. Like, wait a second. Curse. All these have curse on it. Oh, this one's got curse on it too. They've all got curse. Okay, but we think that's right. For the sake of doing this testing, we'll do 120% coefficiency because I think that's basically what it's going to end up being. Right? So this changed, didn't it? Yeah, 350. Okay. So I have all those as formulas. Now our base spell damage is 820. Actually, I'm going to take this off because it's going to make it... it was at 900 with that flask. So we're going to say 820. We're also just going to use 20% crit just to keep it easy. We'll keep 60-second duration. Hit is different. I'm gonna round up here to 10. And I'm gonna say we have 4%, so I'm gonna say 14, just to keep the numbers kind of easy here. I'm assuming hit cap is still 16%. I actually haven't looked at that, so I could be wrong, but that's what we're gonna use. I mean, either way, that should be that'll be the same for everything. I'm just making sure there's no groups queuing. Okay, so that all looks right. Now let's do Wrath. Let me make sure that's max rank. Yeah, rank 10. Okay, 232 mana, 449, 503, 449, 503, 449, 503, 449, 503. What was the mana? 289. Oh, I can hover over it still. 232. Wrath's gonna be the same. Coefficient. Wait, why did I have this? Two divided by 3.5. I feel like I wouldn't have typed that. That doesn't make any sense to me. Okay, we might have to guess on this one a little bit. Because we have 10%. So Starfire is easier because it's 100%. Wrath should be 58%, right? Isn't that what it is from Classic? $58. But then if it's an additional 10%, I'm assuming it's 10% of our whole value, so it'd be 68% rather than 10% of 58. So let's just do some, so 820, 500. So this should be hitting around, it's 11, okay. 1059. So 1150. So let's say 1175. No, I don't want that. Base damage minus that. Wait, what? Oh yeah, that's fine. It's the same thing. So 692, so equals 820. I'm doing this backwards. Dude, that's crazy though. That's saying that Wrath is gaining 85% of our bonus spell power. Is there some kind of weird? Why is that so high? I don't know why this is so high. No, I don't think that's right. I think I messed up on my math here. Oh no, this should be 1075. Okay, that's more normal. That's still pretty high. This is like 5% more than I would think it would be, because I would think it'd be around 68 to 70%. Okay, we're gonna use 70%. 70% coefficient. Yeah, look, that gets us pretty close. That's close enough. That'll be conservative, and we can kind of figure it out. This is still so much more damage. Damn. Did you guys see Mag Therodon at all today? Dude, I ran it with the Asmon's group. It was hard, man. It was hard. I mean, it was kind of refreshing in the sense that Gruel's was really easy. And so it was kind of good to have something that like wasn't super face roll. But we're also really under geared, because you usually be going into mags like where's my Moonfire Insect Swarm? I think I'd rather just do it in this format. Okay, these are both going to be 1.5 cast speed. Oh, it's like, it's not 50 mana. What the hell? Guys, I made a Prot Pally alt. Prot's actually pretty awesome. I want to play it a little bit more in the beta to kind of get the feel for it, but I anticipate that's probably going to be my go-to alt. 450. I didn't realize it's that much more mana. Okay, these are going to be kind of have to be confusing formulas. Move this up so I can still see that. Yeah. Equals. What is it? 366 plus 429 divided by 2. Oops. We need to put brackets around this again. Plus is 720. It's such high base damage. It's pretty nuts. I wonder, you know what'll be interesting is that we could, I don't know that would make a lot of sense from like a point allocation perspective. Oh no, you'd still want to go to Moon Fury. I was going to say, if Wrath and like this other stuff ends up being more optimal, like you wouldn't even need Nature's Grace. I think Nature's Grace will still, like, even if you ended up doing a different kind of rotation with what abilities are, all these people are doing Ramparts. Ramparts was bugged yesterday. We couldn't do it. It was there's like a mechanic. There's a mechanic on Ramparts on the last boss where he like shoots the dragon, like shoots fireballs down. Oh, what the hell? And shoots fireballs down, and the fireballs were the radius of the fire damage around the fireball where it hits was like 10 times the size of the actual fireball. And so there's no visual animation. You would just die from the fire damage even if you were super far away from it. So it made it like impossible. Okay, I need to look up the coefficient for Moonfire because I actually don't know. DPS, mana. Okay, now let's look at base damage for Insect Swarm is 792. That's pretty high too. 792. Do I have coefficients here? Four dot ticks. Oh, I do have the coefficients here. Okay, so the entire Moonfire coefficient, I'm going to double check and make sure this is right. 67.03. 67.03. And these are still going to be baseline because they don't benefit from that talent. $75.97. Good thing I did all this work before. Now this gets really tricky to figure this part out though because of the crit chance. Yeah, see, I think I do have an updated version of this, but this isn't it. It's on my old computer that I don't have connected right now. But so like look at this mana efficiency. So the one thing that's not factored in here is Nature's Grace. Nature's Grace is not factored in. So Insect Swarm can never crit. So this value that it's giving me, assuming this coefficient's right, let's try and see if we can find TBC. TBC spell coef. Wait, this doesn't look like it's War main. Patch 1.2 is wrong, I think, but it'll probably still be the same, right? I don't think that the coefficients changed a ton, did they? Starfire is 100 Wrath. Why is it? This is what I had too. Why is it 2 over 3.5? So if this, I'm gonna go ahead and put 67. I'm gonna change this to 67 point. What was the number? 0.14. And assume that 10% is just adding 10% to the coefficient. That's pretty like, I think that's pretty reasonable. This is what Hurricane was in Classic. Yeah, these all look the same. 76, that's what I had. Moonfire Direct. I feel like I need to break these out. So Moonfire direct and Moonfire dot. The part where this gets confusing is these talents also have increased. I'm not worried about the cast speed. I just need to break out the damage, right? We'll break out the damage and break out the coefficient. Let me move this over. So we'll leave that part of the formula. And we'll do 720 as the base damage here. And I need to change the coefficients. So the direct is 14.95. The dot is 52.09. I think these are all right. I don't think there's actually been any changes on the coefficients besides the talents, but maybe we're wrong. Oh, this part of the formula needs a cast speed. It's okay. Those are both the same basically. The mana efficiency thing here is off because it's basically twice this, but that doesn't matter for really. That's not really what I'm trying to figure out right now. Okay. Now the question is, how do we figure out if I have a 20% crit chance with talents for Moonfire, it's a 30%, right? And for these, it's gonna be a 24% crit chance. So, oh man. Would it just mathematically be 30% more damage? Because you have a 30% chance to do double damage. So, you know, we can do equals that times 0.7. Oh shit. I wanted to put parentheses around it. 0.7, because 70% of the time you're gonna get that, and it's gonna go plus this times 2. And then it's gonna be times 0.3. Does that make sense? So at the 30% crit chance, that DPS on average is 676. That sounds right. Let's go ahead and plug that in. I'm going to put that in right now just for sake of this. Dot damage is fixed, that's fine. I'll have to figure out some way to factor in these talents into the equation here. Now I'm gonna have to do something similar for these. for these, what I could do, I could just bump this up to like 24. Because 24 is not going to change these, but it does change my Wrath and my Starfire. Ignore all this shit. This is all, that's all old. It's not relevant. So DPS average. Oh my gosh, it's closing, dude. Servers are closing. No. Right as we're testing this stuff. Okay, well, we got our initial numbers that we can crunch here. I want to test one thing really quick. Okay, I'm not going to use trinkets or anything here. We're gonna DPS. Let me set a timer. Is that going? I want to DPS for a period of time, like we had a pull timer. And we're gonna maintain Insect Swarm and Moonfire. And see what we do damage wise. Our damage meter's up here on the top left. I didn't think they would shut it down so soon. I thought they would give it another day or two. It's okay, at least we got some of the base numbers we can kind of do. I can crunch some math, mess with that later on. So like in this scenario without Flask, right, that was just not crazy buffed or anything. No external buffs. We're able to maintain right around 1,000, 800 to 950 depending on what kind of crits we get. I think that that's pretty reliable. We're in that like 9, 920, 940, 9 something like that ballpark. Okay, now get out of combat. Okay, now let's try this now without Insect Swarm. And just Moonfire. It's unfortunate you can't really like you never want to refresh the actual Moonfire while the buff's still up. You have to like wait for it to fall completely off. I'm just gonna go till I run out of mana. $960, $950. So this okay, so we're out of mana here. So this does seem like to me though, it wasn't a lot different, but it seemed like we're maintaining a little bit higher DPS. I need water. Okay, we have 13 minutes. Server shut down 13 minutes. So we'll at least get a little bit more of this testing in. Just to see. So you see there we're at 935 based on this. And we're at 890 with Insect Swarm. There's no Curse of Elements or anything either. But that goes to my point of how the playstyle feels is spending the global on Insect Swarm The other thing to keep in mind is that Insect Swarm has to last its full duration. If a target dies and your Insect Swarm's halfway through, it loses like all the value, right? So let's try now with Wrath. Let's just try only Wrath spam. Based on that spreadsheet, only Wrath spam should be the highest. Based on the numbers that I had right now. The thing is like, I feel like it's not factoring in the crit value with Starfire very well. The other thing that's worth noting here is that I would make the argument as we get more and more gear, Starfire is going to pull ahead because it is benefiting from Nature's Grace, right? So if you're getting 20% bonus damage via the talent, basically every time Nature's Grace procs, since Starfire is the only spell actually benefiting from it, it's actually kind of cool that those aren't that far apart DPS wise. $800. Okay, so let's try this one. We'll do, what's up Anthony, how you doing, man? Do you stick with Moonkin for, so I actually haven't done any arenas in TBC yet in the beta. This is on like the one that you could pre-make a character, so I haven't tried the arenas yet. Okay, let's try Wrath while maintaining Moonfire and Insect Swarm and see how that does. Easiest way I think to test is just go through my whole mana pool. That's not the best way, but that's the easiest way if we're trying to cram this in like 15 minutes before the servers shut down. I kind of zoned out there. I didn't refresh. Okay. Close enough, close enough. So that actually did surprisingly well. So Starfire by itself is 765 DPS. Okay, so let's test only Starfire spamming. Oh, now there's Curse of Elements on everything. Dude, that ruins it. 10%. Okay, let's test. We got the basic numbers of the other stuff now. I want to test the trees. I'll keep casting Fairy Fire here to stay in combat. I just want to test it for the full trees duration. The other thing I'd like to see here is if the trinkets affect the trees at all. Our trees hit so hard, dude. It has to do something with our eye level, because these are hitting way harder than they were like before, like the first time I used them. And we have pretty good gear. Oh, hopefully these characters aren't like deleted. Hopefully if we get beta access again, they're still here. Not likely though. Look at that, 11,000 damage from the treants, dude. 11,300. That's crazy. How many hits? 46 hits over their lifespan. They had a couple dodges and parries there. Okay, last thing I want to test real quick is I want to make sure snapshotting is still a thing. I meant to test this earlier, but so it's maintaining 375, 256, 375, 256. Let's try without the trinket. Yeah. Okay, so snapshotting is a thing, in which case I feel like that will have some value for Insect Swarm, regardless of which rotation ends up being best. If you're not able to fit like a full cast in, because it's like it's still pretty high. 76 coefficient, so it's gonna, I mean, I think that will probably end up making sense. Okay, this is gonna be skewed a little bit, but let's try Starfire only. The main thing I wanted to test here is difference between max rank Starfire spam and rank 1. As far as like the DPS difference. Like, I would think that there's a chance with Bloodlust and like at a certain crit point that Starfire spam is going to be optimal, just because if you are getting a lot of crits, it does the most DPS by a very big margin, right? Because even though my formula accounts for where it like averages it out, so it's like a 2.88 second cast or whatever it said on the spreadsheet, the reality is some of the times it's 2.5 seconds. So if you do the numbers on a 2.5 second cast versus 3 second cast, it's a very different DPS. So I feel like when you get to certain breaking points of actual crit or reducing the cast time via haste like Bloodlust, this is actually doing a lot of, well, I guess we have Curse of Elements out. This is actually hitting pretty hard just for basically 2k and then 4k. Curse of Elements is about to fall off. So we're around 800 DPS. Let me test this with rank 1 before Curse of Element falls off. I don't want to DPS it without Curse of Elements on because it'll be skewed. So it's like 800. It looks like it's like 150-ish DPS loss. This last couple kind of fell off because of the way that the meter shit kind of bugged out. But it's 150 DPS loss overall, no matter what the rotation you end up using. Whether it's like maintaining Insect Swarm or not, whatever. If you down rank just to rank 1, it's only going to be about a 10% DPS loss, and it will negate having basically any mana issues at all. I mean, I can literally spam this forever. Okay, so let's test out with trinkets and treants. I don't think these are going to hit harder, but maybe. So these look like, the numbers look the same to me. And they stay the same after the trinket falls off. So that makes me think, because I tested that before, that makes me think that it's not scaling off of our actual spell damage, that it's scaling off of like intellect or something else. In which case, if they're like intellect trinkets, shoot, I kind of messed that up by I didn't spam Fairy Fire, so it didn't keep it as like one segment. Yeah, see, oh, that's annoying. I mean, I just know from looking at those numbers, they were the same as they were the time before. Okay, let's try one more here with our just our normal Moonfire. So far, our best performer of all three of those options was Moonfire while maintaining Starfire while maintaining Moonfire. This will also benefit the most if we have like the Spellfire set. That's arcane and fire damage. So this is a rotation that you could do with that build. We're not getting very lucky here with crits. Oh, they just put Curse of Elements on. It's going to throw everything off. Well, that was fun while it lasted. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. We'll let this is going to be a short one here, but we'll let this VOD up just so that there's something up here. I'll scroll through my gear here real quick just so you guys can see it, see how we gemmed for point of reference. There are a couple things worth noting. Scryers, Shatar Rep, Cenarian Expedition, Scryers again are some really good rep items for balance. We're also using the Wrath damage increase idol here, which obviously kind of skews those numbers, I guess, a little bit. I didn't really think about that. I'll have to look up the idols and see what other options we have here. Tier 4 shoulders. Helm off of Gruul. So we're pretty stacked. We have pretty good gear. Overall, the options here are exciting, guys. I'm really looking forward to TBC getting to test this more. Maybe we'll mess around on the clone serve a little bit, level up. Maybe you can queue arenas before 70, right? I don't have to level a character all the way to 70, do I? Does anyone know? Yeah, see, so based on this, what if I make this... Okay, it equals that sub, but let's say, what if I do have a crit? See, that doesn't make sense. Something in this math isn't adding up in some way that I'm doing this, because Wrath shouldn't be more DPS. I don't know. When we had Curse of Elements, this was like 200, or this was like 2,000 is what it was hitting for non-crit. So I don't know if maybe that's the variable that you have Curse of Elements, but Curse of Elements only supposed to be 10%. So 1,600 to 2,000 doesn't make a lot of sense. What if we make this equal this again? So that might be the variable, guys, because it looks like there. So if I use 2,000, this was the number we were getting with Curse of Elements when I looked at that damage test on like the average of the hits, non-crits. So that's Curse of Elements, basically baseline damage. And that puts these basically neck and neck. Without Curse of Elements, it looks like Wrath might pull ahead. But you also have a big difference in mana efficiency here. What if I do this back? But without Cursive Elements, these are closer. But with Cursive Elements, this becomes way more mana efficient, and the DPS like bridges the gap. And then Moonfire ends up being 1200 DPS. Very inefficient though. Insect Swarm is 950 DPS. And is incredibly efficient. 8.09 mana efficiency. So that's crazy though. I don't know. We'll have to keep cracking on this. This is going to be kind of hard to figure out all these variables because you got to figure out Nature's Grace. If that's happening, I would imagine at certain breakpoints or haste points with things like Bloodlust that might also change stuff. Because if our global, I think Bloodlust does affect the global cooldown. But if our global cooldown is still in that same ballpark, right? Starfire is going to benefit significantly more. But it's looking like, based on this, if you have Cursive Elements, you always want to cast Starfire. If you don't have Cursive Elements, if you can time it where you cast Starfire off of a Nature's Grace proc, that technically is going to be slightly more overall DPS. Moonfire looks like it's going to be a DPS gain, but be really mana intensive. We'll have to do more testing on Insect Swarm, but I think if you have Cursive Elements, I think that Starfire Moonfire setup is going to be the best just because both of them gaining 10%. It's going to give you the most Nature's Grace procs over the course of a fight, doing that way too, I would think. We'll have to see. Interesting. All right, guys. Well, thanks for hanging out. Sorry that was so short. I didn't know they're going to shut down the TBC servers so soon. We did get some footage of a Ramparts run, so I'll probably post that up separately as a separate video. Thanks for the handful of you guys that did hang out here for a little bit. Sorry, it was a little anticlimactic, a little bit short-sighted here, but if we get another beta invite here, we'll be testing more of this stuff in the future. I'm super, super hyped for TBC. It's going to be a lot of fun. Balance feels very, very strong, very good by comparison to Classic, so hopefully you guys are as stoked as I am. Thanks for hanging out, guys. I'll catch you guys soon. See ya.